Thank you all for joining this session. And in this session, we are going to talk about the Linux fundamentals. Okay, so we're going to start from scratch and I'm going to help you understand basically how Linux works, what is Linux, and what is this black screen that we are currently looking at right now. Okay, so because Linux is so important, like if you want to make your career in cloud or if you want to make your career in Linux as a Linux administrator, bec- so that's where Linux, plays a very crucial role. And you can say it is one of the widely used operating system nowadays in the IT industry. So having basic fundamental knowledge of Linux is really important because when you are working in IT, you will get to, get together with this black screen a lot. So this black screen is nothing, just the Linux terminal that I'm logged in into right now. Okay. And we're gonna talk about, we're gonna start from scratch, obviously. And yep, I hope after watching this entire session, you will have a great knowledge of what is Linux, and you definitely you will not fear the fear of black screen, because there are many people whenever they start working on Linux, so they have a fear of this black screen. But definitely after watching this entire video, you will be get together with this black screen that is your terminal, and it will help you to gain as much insights onto the Linux part. Okay, so basically, first of all, what is Linux? So you can say Linux is an open source operating system. Okay, just like you have your Windows operating system, similarly, we have a Linux operating system. But the point is, Linux is open source and it is developed by Linus Torvald because he insisted that he wants to develop something which is free of cost and can be widely adopted by the user. That's where he come up with the idea of this black screen, or you can say the Linux operating system. Okay, it is a very, I can say it is one of the most fastest operating system that exists in the entire IT industry or in the entire computer industry. Okay, because for a reason, right? So when you will, when you are comfortable working in Linux in future, you will get to know the how powerful the Linux is. Okay, so let me start with the basics. So in first of all, we need to understand what are the basic Linux command that you're gonna use in your day-to-day life. Okay. So let's pretty much start from basics. So right now you can see that I am logged in as a root user, right? So what is this root user? So root user is nothing which has the permission to do anything. It is like the head of the family who can do anything, access anything, read any file, write to any file, delete any file, etc. Okay. So let me show you. Okay. So now I can see that currently I am inside this folder. In terms of Linux, we call it a directory. Okay, so just keep this directory term in your mind instead of folder. Okay, folder is equal to directory. So now right now I'm inside the home Ubuntu and Linux directory. Right now, let's say I want to list all the files that exist inside this Linux directory. Exist inside this slash home slash Ubuntu slash Linux directory. So the command is ls. What ls will do? It will list all the files and directories that exist inside a particular directory, okay, at or a specific location. So right now I can see that there is nothing inside this home Ubuntu and Linux directory, right? Now, if you want to create a file in Linux, so the command is very simple for that. So simply use touch test.txt. Let's say I want to create a file known as test.txt. So the command to create a file is the touch. If I press enter now, let's check the files and folders again in this Linux directory, again with ls. And now my test.txt has been successfully created. Okay. Now, let's say I want to create a directory. I just, with the previous touch command, this command is used to create file. But if I want to create a directory, the command for that is mkdir. Okay, mkdir stands for make directory. So mkdir, let's say test, press enter. Now, if I do again, I want to check the files and folders, then the command you will use is ls. Now you can see this is this blue color test thing you can see, right? So this is a directory. Okay. Now let's say I want to go inside this test directory. So the command for that is cd. Cd stands for change directory. Okay, let's say cd test. You can see right now I'm inside the test directory. So there is another command. Now I can see that this is the path that I am right now inside slash home slash Ubuntu slash Linux and slash test directory, right? But what if I want to check the current working directory right now I am in? Okay, so there is also one command for that, that is pwd. So pwd will print the present working directory that I am right now. Okay, so pwd stands for present working directory. Cool. Let's move forward. Again, let's do ls. Okay, but inside this test directory, there is no file, right? Now, let's say I want to come outside of this test folder or test directory. So which command I'm gonna use? That's the big question, right? So it's a very simple. Let me again zoom in a little bit into this. So the command is pretty simple. That is cd space dot dot, two dots. Okay, if I do that, so right now you can see I am outside of this test directory, right? You can see this is test, and right now I am outside of the test directory. So if I do pwd again, so home Ubuntu Linux, okay. Now, um, let me give you one more, let me tell you one more important command that we as a Linux, you can say as a Linux administrator or as a cloud engineer run. Okay, so right now, the machine which I'm using is based on Ubuntu operating system. Okay, so Ubuntu, what is Ubuntu? Ubuntu is also an operating system based out on Linux. Okay, so the commands that will work on Linux will work on Ubuntu also, because they both are, because the Ubuntu is just an operating system on the Linux flavor. Okay, but the only difference between the Ubuntu and you can say Linux is that the package manager or the repositories which contains all the packages and files, you can say. Okay, so the package manager of Ubuntu is apt. Okay, apt is the package manager of Ubuntu, and yum is the package manager of Linux. Okay, so right now as I'm using Ubuntu operating system, let's say you can see the first task that a Linux administrator, or you can say if you're working as a cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer, is first of all, you need to update the packages. That's the first command. Like whenever you start your day working in IT industry, like you come at 9 a.m., you logged in into your machine, you logged in into your Ubuntu machine. So the first command you should run is apt update. So what is this apt update is? Apt update is used to update all the packages or binaries which are present inside in this machine. Okay, you can see 66, 69 packages can be upgraded. So if you want to upgrade all the packages, so if you want to see, check the list, like which packages I can upgrade. So let's say apt list hyphen hyphen upgradable. So you can see that, right? This is a list of packages that is present inside this Ubuntu that can be upgraded with the apt upgrade command. So apt update, then after that apt upgrade space y. If you will run this, it will upgrade all the packages which are mentioned here with the apt hyphen hyphen apt list hyphen hyphen upgradable command. Okay, so for that, let's skip that part, but just remember that apt update plus apt upgrade. These are the two commands that usually a Linux administrator runs whenever he logs inside the machine, because we want that all my packages, all my binaries which are present inside the operating system are in the latest version, right? So, but just yeah, remember that apt is the package manager of Ubuntu, and let's say if this is the Linux operating system, let's say if I'm on a Red Hat, so Red Hat is purely based on Linux. It is a Linux operating system only. So instead of that, I would have used this command, that is yum update plus yum. Okay, yum update only. So if you use yum update hyphen y, so it will give you a list of packages that can be, but that can be upgraded. But as I'm Ubuntu, so this yum command is not found, right? So It completely depends on what operating system, Linux or Linux flavor you are currently using. Okay. So now the next command, let's talk about one more important command that you should know while if you're working on Linux. So ls is used to list the directory, cd test is used to change or go inside the directory, cd space dot dot is to come out of directory. And if I want to, let's say this is a test file, right? What if I want to add some content? Let's say I have a test file, right? Test.txt. Now, let's say if I want to add some content inside this file. So the big question is how I'm going to do that. Okay. How I can add a content within this test.txt directory. So that is a pretty simple. There are like you have in Windows, like people who are working in Windows, they have a text editor, right? So that text editor could be Notepad, that text editor could be anything, right? But usually Notepad or Sublime if you're on Mac, okay? So these are the most famous text editors that exist right now, right? But in Linux, if I want to do that with a black screen, that is with my terminal. So with Linux, we have this text editor that is Nano. So just simply type Nano and the file name. So right now I'm inside this file. So let's say, hey, this is for testing and I am using this is for testing and I am using Nano X editor. Okay. Now to save it, just simply press Control plus X and then press Y and then enter. Cool. So this text has been saved inside the test.txt file. Okay. Now, if I want to see the content of this test.txt. So the command to do that is cat. Cat is a command which will print out the content which is present inside my file. Okay, you can see this is the text that I saved inside this file. Hey, this is for the testing and I'm using NanoText editor, right? So if you want to print the content of any file, just use the cat command, cat test.txt. Cool. Now, I hope this is everything is clear till here, right? But again, if you have any doubts or concern, you can I will definitely guide you. Just simply ask me, okay? Now, let's talk about another text editor that exists inside my Linux. Okay, so another text editor is VI. If I do VI test.txt, I'm inside this file, you see. Hey, this is for testing. Now, when I'm inside this file, I need to press I on my keyboard. Okay, so it will enable the editing mode. So let's say this text has been saved using VI data. Okay. So if I press escape, then do shift colon, shift plus colon, and then WQ. Again, remember to save the content of the file using a VI editor, you need to use shift colon and then WQ and then press enter. The content is saved. Now let's again print the content of this file. You see, now this extra line has been added, which I just did using the VI text editor. Okay, so two editors are present inside Linux. One is Nano, one is VI. Simply remember that. Okay, and again, no need to fear about this black screen. This is very simple. Commands are very simple. You just need practice. Okay, because the more you practice, the more you will become comfortable with working on it. Okay, now let's talk about let's say, as I told you, right now I'm logged in inside the Linux as a root user, right? So what if I want to check the file permissions, file or let's say directory permissions? Because file permission is a very important concept, right? You don't want to give full access of every file to every Linux user, right? Because your file could contain sensitive data, it could contain your sensitive credentials, right? So this is file permissions is a very important concept. Okay, so let's talk about it. So basically the first thing, let's say I want to check the permission and the owner who created this file. Okay, who is the actual owner of this file? So the command for that is ls-lrt. Cool. So you see, it is showing me this root user because I created this directory and this file as a root user, right? You can see that currently I'm inside logged in as a root user. So these are the permissions. I know it may be not clear to you right now what are those, right? But we will talk about this in a second. So right now these files are owned by the root user. This is the username and this is the group to which this root user belongs to. Okay, this is the username and this is the group to which root user belongs to. And this is telling me the date when I created this file, on which time and the date when I created these files and directories. Okay, so these are the permissions. Right now it has a read, write, execute, and read execute. So what are these file permissions, right? That is a big question that's I hope that is coming to your mind right now. So to explain this in a simple way, let me open a text editor. Let's say txt. Let me zoom again. So to understand this file permissions concept, you need to understand three things. A file can have a read permission, a file can have a write permission, and a file can have an execute permission. Okay, read, write, and execute. These are the three permissions that a file can have. So you need to remember the three numbers while dealing with file permissions in Linux, because in Linux everything is binary, everything is zero, or like you can say everything is in behind the hood. Computer only understand the binary language. So you need to understand this with the help of binaries. So if I talk about the read means 4. Okay, read is equal to 4 and write is equal to 2, execute is equal to 1. Read, write, and execute. 4, 2, and 1. Okay. So how are these like what is this? Right now you're gonna thinking what will I do with these numbers, right? So for example, I have a file, let's say test.txt, and it has a permission. Let's say I want to give the read plus write permission to a user. So what will be the number? Can you guys guess? I hope. Read is for 4. That is 4 plus what is write stands for? Write stands for 2. So 4 plus 2, which is equal to 6. Cool. Pretty simple, right? Let's take another example. Now let's say this is the same file. Now I want to give read plus write plus execute permission to this file. So what is the number? Any guesses? Yep, you guessed it right. 4 plus 2 plus 1 for execute. So which will come out to be 7. Okay. Now let's say I want to give only read permission to a file. Okay. So what will be the number is? Yep, pretty simple. Is equal to 4. Cool. And let's say if I want to give read plus execute, what will be the number? That is 4 plus 1, which is equal to 5. So remember these three numbers only. And I'm going to show you how these numbers will come into picture, how I'm going to use these numbers to change my file permissions. Okay, just save this file again, Control X and then Y, because I'm using an enumerator. So first of all, to check the permission, to print out the content, the command is cat, right? So this is what we have discussed. So now let's do ls-lrt. Sorry, my bad. ls-lrt. Okay. So right now you can see the permissions. This test.txt file right now it has read, execute, read, and read. So read execute means read plus execute is 5. Sorry, read write. Okay, this permission, this has a read write, read and read. So this is the permission of your user. This is the permission to the group to which this user belongs to, and this is the permission to other Linux users that exist in your system. Because apart from this root user, let's say there is a test user. So that test user will only be able to read that. Okay. This is the permission for other users. And this is the permission for this particular, because the file owner can do anything, because this is being created by the root user. And as I told you, root user has the permission to do anything inside a Linux system. Root user can delete a file. It can make any changes to any file. Doesn't matter. Okay. So let's say I want to change the permissions. So the command is the chmod or chmod. Some people call it chmod. I call it chmod. Okay, chmod. Let's say I want to give this file. I want to change the file permission as I want all the users to be able to edit this file apart from the root user. Okay, so the command for that is chmod 777. Why 777? As I told you, read plus write plus execute. So 4 plus 2 plus 1. That is 7. Okay, I want every user and every group to edit this file, to be able to edit this file. And for that, the command is chmod 777 and the file name test.txt. Okay, press enter. Now let's again check the file permission using ls space hyphen lrt. Now you see, again, let me clear that. Now you see the file permissions have been changed. Read, write, execute, read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. What command did I use? Chmod. Okay, remember this command? Chmod 777. Cool. I hope this is clear to you. Now let's again change the file permissions to, let's say, let's say 644, and then ls-lrt. Now the file permissions have again changed. 4 is for read, 4 is for read, 6 is equal to read plus write, right? 4 plus 2. Okay, here 4 plus 2 is 6. So read, write, read, and read. So I hope this file permission concept is clear to you now. Okay, so let's proceed forward. Now, yeah, one more thing let me tell you. So let's say I am inside the cd dot, let's go inside the test directory. Inside this test directory right now, don't have anything, any content, right? So if I do ls again, nothing is there. So let's create some files, and to create the file, the command is touch, right? Touch, let's say 1.txt, touch 2.txt, and 3.txt. ls. Okay, you can also get multiple files with having a space between the two file names with a single command. Okay, now 3 files are present. Okay, let's check the permission of these files. ls is ls hyphen lrt, and you can see that right now they have 644. Okay, read, write, read, and read for all the 3 files. Let's come out of the directory, and the command to come out of a directory is cd space dot dot. Now I'm inside the Linux directory. Now there is as a Linux administrator, I was given a task that within a one single command, this is also one of the most famous interview questions as well, that within a one single command, I want to change all the file permissions of this test directory. Okay, with one single command, I want to change all the file permissions which are present inside the test directory. So the command for that, I told you, to change the file permission, chmod will be there, but just one flag will be added, that is hyphen capital R and then test. Sorry. After that, let's say 755. I want to change the permissions of all the files inside this test directory to 755. What this hyphen R stands for recursively. Recursively means every folder and file which will be present inside this test directory, the permissions will be changed. So I just press enter. Now let's go inside the test directory using cd command. Okay, cd stands for change directory, then do ls, and then again check the permissions with ls hyphen lrt. So you see the file permissions have been changed now. That is, earlier it was this read, write, read, read, and now it is read, write, execute, read, execute, read, execute. That is 7, right? 6 plus 4 plus 2, 7. Read, execute, that is 5, right? Read is for 4, execute is for 1, and 5. So remember this hyphen capital R flag, which is used to change the file permissions recursively. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you. Now, what you need to do is you need to clear the screen. So this file permission concepts, I hope this is clear, right? So let's talk about another concept, another like important command that a Linux administrator use in his daily life. So let's say I'm as a Linux admin, I am given a task that I want to I want to add a new user. Okay. So how can I do that? What's the command to add a new user inside this system, inside this machine, which I am currently logged in right now? Okay. So for that, let me show you how to do that. So the command is user add, let's say, Sam, user add Sam. Okay. Sam is the name of my user. Press enter. So the user has been added. Now let's say I want to switch. I want to log. You can say I want to log in to my machine, or let's say I want to switch my user as to Sam now, because currently I am logged in as a root user. So now I want to just change my switch my user to Sam. So for that, su hyphen Sam. Okay, you can see if I do who am I? Who am I? Which user I am? So I am Sam, right? So this is a command to check which user I'm logged in right now. So let me come out of the Sam user. If I do who am I? So I am root. Okay. So there are two commands, like there are two ways to create a user. One is user add, then the second command is add user. So add user, let's say Bob. Okay. Now it is asking me, what is the password I want to have for my user Bob? Okay. So let's say the password of Bob will be Bob. Again, let me retype the password. And let's say Bob, you can just leave this as blank as of now if the information is correct. Press Y. The Bob user has been created. Okay. So the recommended, as I showed you two commands, right? One is the user add and the second is add user. So the recommended way to like the recommended command that we suggest to as a Linux administrator is add user, because with user add I see no home directory is made, because every user has its home directory. When I say home directory means right now, let's say, let me show you, because this you see the home slash Ubuntu. So as I told you, this is a Ubuntu operating system. So by default, Ubuntu operating system comes with Ubuntu user. So every user has a directory inside the home folder or home directory.